In yesterday's video, we traversed the crumbling overpass called the High Road. It was infested with deathclaws and proved to be one of the more difficult fights we've had so far. At the end of the road, we found the Ashton missile silo. The only way to open the doors to the silo was to pull a big red lever. And upon doing so, we launched a nuclear missile. We saw it detonate in the sky, but then learned that it devastated an area close to Hopeville. At the time, I wondered how it could have done so if it detonated in the air, but savvy viewers clued me into the fact that nuclear warheads do much more damage if they detonate just above the land. If they hit the ground, the Earth absorbs most of the impact. This is called an airburst detonation, and has been used as a military tactic for a very long time. Nuclear weapons are usually detonated between 100 and 1,000 meters above the ground. This allows the shock wave from the blast to bounce off the ground and then back into itself. This creates a much more powerful shock wave, called a Mach stem. Another advantage to using an airburst with nuclear weapons is it limits the amount of fallout done to the area. The United States chose to use an airburst for the Hiroshima bomb, for example, because they had hoped to send US troops in to occupy the city afterwards. After we finish confronting Ulysses, we'll have to track down the detonation site to see what damage we've caused. Before going into the silo, we looted the containers out here. I neglected to mention that one of them had an industrial hand. There are a few more that we find in the Divide, but this is the first one. The industrial hand is a new fist weapon from Lonesome Road. It consists of a rotary blade that projects forward from the hand. It is essentially an automatic unarmed fist weapon. This is an incredibly powerful unarmed weapon that completely ignores damage resistance and damage threshold. It does 50 damage, making it one of the most powerful power fists in the entire game, second only to the superheated Saturnite fist from Old World Blues. But because this is an automatic weapon and attacks so quickly, it does significantly more DPS than the superheated Saturnite fist, clocking in at 160 DPS. It's considered a holdout weapon, so you can sneak it into casinos, and it's also player only, meaning companions can't use it. It also has the highest critical damage of all other unarmed or melee weapons, with 40 critical damage. To put that in perspective, the Thermic Lance has 10, and the Chainsaw has only 8. Many thanks to the viewers who pointed out this omission in yesterday's video. But now, after having launched a nuke, we need to enter the silo. Immediately upon entry, we find the silo racked with explosions, and we get attacked by tunnelers. Moving forward, we find a cargo elevator going deeper into the silo. We can move forward to the southern edge and flip a switch to activate the elevator. As we go deep into the earth, tunnelers attack from all directions, climbing across the pipes above us and dropping down, scaling the cages on either side, and leaping in. We somehow have to defeat them all while being knocked from side to side by explosions from within the silo. The elevator rests at the very end, we can open big double doors to enter the silo. We find ourselves in a small room with alarms blaring all around us. We can loot some containers to the right, 3 metal boxes, a military shipping crate, and an ammo canister. There's a weapon repair kit on top of this center console, and inside the desk we can find a copy of Future Weapons Today. We have a few paths forward. There's a doorway to the southeast, a doorway to the east, and a stairway going down to the northeast, which leads to the launch deck. We'll start by going through the door to the south. We arrive in a large room and we see fires burning on the level below. After looting a footlocker to the right, we can move west and then take this catwalk all the way around what looks like a launch silo. This must be the same silo from which we just launched that nuclear missile. Leaping across a break in the catwalk, we can move over to the other side where we can loot some scrap and a footlocker at the top of this shelf. Turning north, we find a door and a hard-lock terminal. We'll pass these for now and instead go through the door to the east. This leads us down a hallway. We see a sign on the side, Launch Deck Level 1. We hear the sound of a sentry bot from behind this door to the north. Probably should have pulled out my arc welder for that. Inside, we find a copy of Fixing Things and a Programmer's Digest in the desk, and there's a locked box beneath it. Here we find a commissary, and we can ask Eddie nicely to unlock it for us. After restocking on ammo and repairing our gear, we can loot a red toolbox by the desk and then heal ourselves up using an auto dock in this room. Opening the door next to the auto dock brings us to a hallway. We can follow it west, it turns a corner, and the hallway ends with 2 doors. To the right, we see one locked with an average lock terminal. Hacking it, we can unlock the door, and inside, we find the body of a marked man. Again, I wonder how he could be here. After all, this place has been locked down. You had to launch the nuke to get inside. Behind the desk, we find some supply cabinets, and then we can loot a bank of lockers to the south. Here we can restock on chems, MREs, and we find a lot of U.S. Army combat armor. When done, we can head out of this room and turn right. We can then go through the door to the left, and we see that we're back in that first room we entered. Okay, so all that's left on this level is to go back into the launch room and open that door locked with a terminal we saw to the south. After hacking the terminal and opening the door, we find another destroyed iBot. On this iBot is the iBot upgrade circuit board, and we gain the camaraderie perk rank 3, giving ourselves and ED a bonus of +2 to DT. We can loot its supply cabinet, and then we find a bunch of scrap on a shelf to the northwest. On the very bottom, we find some rocket canisters. With that room explored, we can retrace our steps and go back into the first room. We can then take the stairs down to the launch deck. At the end of the hallway, we pass through a door and find ourselves on the second level of this silo. The launch of the rocket has destroyed this ground floor. We see fire and rubble everywhere. Continuing southeast, we find an average locked door. On the other side, golly, we find a bunch of junk all over the ground. Do I really have to rifle through all of this piece by piece? And the answer to that is no. After rifling through it, I didn't find anything interesting, so save yourself the trouble. We can loot 2 boxes that just have a bunch of scrap, but in the locker, we find another full suit of riot gear. Heading out and following the catwalk southwest, we can round a corner, leap over a crack, and then take some stairs down to the burning bottom floor. Here amongst the rubble to the north, we find a hard-locked safe with ammo, chems, and a submachine gun. Delving deeper into this wreckage, we find a hole and a ramp going all the way into it. This hole leads to a room filled with tunnelers. Moving north into the rubble, we find another hard-locked safe sitting on a pile of concrete. Inside, another 12.7mm submachine gun and more scrap. After looting 2 boxes and a toolbox to the northwest, we can continue by going down the rubble pile towards a building. This skyscraper must have sunken into the earth after whatever travesty happened here at the Divide. We even see a sign on this wall, Bank. And peering up, we can see sunlight through the cracks. Continuing forward, we can loot a suitcase, some dirty water in a bookshelf, and then open a door to the Sunstone Tower. This tower, which was presumably a bank as well, is tilting to the side. Visibility is low, but thankfully I've got the night vision on my riot helm. Crouching down to activate it, we can move forward up the stairs and climb until we reach the 2nd floor. We hear noises, but we don't see anything. Ow! Okay, he ran back in. There we go. Eddie bolts up to the 3rd floor. Oh no. Come back here, Eddie. This guy's gonna aggro every tunneler in the building. Moving back down to the 2nd floor, we can loot it. We find a copy of Chinese Army Special Ops Training Manual on the bottom of a shelf to the southeast. Next to this is a first aid kit, and then we can go through a door to the room to the northeast. Inside we can loot a myriad of containers, but of note, behind a bookshelf that has been pulled away from the wall, we find an average locked wall safe. Inside we find a .357 revolver and a bunch of ammunition. Heading out, we can go up the stairs to the 3rd level. Turning down a western hallway, we can loot a suitcase and then open a broken door to the northeast. Here we can unlock an easy-locked desk. It has some money, cat eye, and a La Fantoma inside. And then on a wall behind a bookshelf, we find the next Ralphie poster. Backing out of this room, we can continue northeast to the next stairway. This brings us up to the final floor. We see that the hallway has been filled in on either side with rubble, so our only path forward is to go through the southwest door to the divide.
Hopeville, High Road, Ashton, tiny cracks in the earth, nothing compared to the road carved ahead. Before you, this is the edge of the divide. Ahead lies your work, the history you burned in the earth, what you brought to the people here.
What? I had nothing to do with this.
You delivered a package, had markings that matched those in the divide. Not all, but enough. Military markings from someplace the bear had savaged in the west. Maybe seeing those markings on it reminded you of home, made you carry it.
What? I don't recall bringing a package here.
It was from the west, from deep in NCR. Whether made by them or not, it came here through your hands. It was a device, a detonator, one I'd never seen before, or heard before. You carried that thing to the divide. I know because I followed you as you walked the road, watched you do it. You brought it here, to the community you built, and you are responsible for what happened after, when the device opened, started to speak. When it did, the divide answered back. Those missiles you've seen, buried in their silos. They exploded beneath the ground, cracked the landscape. Sand, ash, the dead. The divide skies became a graveyard.
That can't be true. If you saw this happen, how did you survive?
Should have died there. But now that I know you live, the machines here saved me. I was the only survivor. Or thought I was. Your package, the message inside, awoke medical machines, close to the one that shadows you, began to build themselves. Then others. They only take what parts they find in the divide, never roam beyond it. Can't even leave the silos without a human to shadow. Like hounds. Maybe they saw the flag on my jacket, thought I was of America. If so, history saved me. A sign.
So is all of this revenge for me nearly killing you, then?
Not the name I'd give it. Not the name the dead would give it. Soldiers of the bear died here. Legion died too. My brothers, still dying. Both of them, all around us. None of the people that lived here survived. Yet all of the West and the East, they hold on as the divide tears at them. Revenge isn't the message I have for you. More than that, Courier.
This package, you said it had markings? What was it?
Machinery. Simple on the outside. Computer parts. Inside. More complicated. Was the only time I'd heard a machine speak in the divide. The only machine with a voice.
Why would I have brought it here?
I've walked the east. You've walked the west more than I have. Circle Junction, Reno, Vault City. Word a few at Fort Aradesh. Fort abandoned. Even further west than that, Brahmin drives on the big circle. Whatever you saw out there wasn't enough to make you stay. Maybe the markings on the package reminded you of the road home.
I'm not responsible for this. There's no way I could have known.
If you had been there when it happened, if you had seen the divide break, you would know it. You carry death wherever you go. If the Mojave doesn't know it yet, it will. What happened here can happen again. You already proved it. What you did in Ashton, the silo there.
Oh, well, I had no idea the silo was active until the missile was in the air towards Hopeville.
Didn't stop you, though. Like carrying the chip to Vegas. Old world death in your hand. Pieces of the old world like that just need someone careless enough to take them where they need to go, to do their killing.
I'm not to blame for Ashton, the chip, or the divide.
All these roads that you walked, these packages that you carried, think it wasn't your choice? Of course, it was your choice. You could have stayed in the Mojave, but you chose to come, couldn't let be. Not in you to let go. Came for no other reason than you were curious, restless, always have been. Had to know the why of it. Now I'll show you.
The why of it? You're the one who needs to answer that. Why are you doing this?
Want to hear the answer of it? Not just history's answer. Your answer for what happened here.
If our fame with the Legion is high enough, we can pass a Legion check to say, are you angry that this explosion undermined the Legion's plans? It was an accident.
Accident. Ignorance is a choice. The chip, a choice. As for anger, it is what I carry for the dead and all that come here.
If we have high enough fame with the NCR, we can pass an NCR check to say, the dead? You mean the Republic troops who were here?
The soldiers of the bear. They were dead already. Their symbol diseased. Deserved to die as my brothers did at Boulder City. Mines, bombs. I carry nothing for them. Their deaths here were a mercy compared to the ones that still walk the divide.
Then what? Did the divide explosion kill your family? Your wife? Children?
My family. My tribe lives. Its history died long ago. Fell under the shadow of the bull. Consumed by another symbol. No, this isn't about family. Or any common blood. It's blood shared by acts. Not by chance.
If you're Legion, are you angry because I destroyed the Divide supply line instead of you?
The supply line, the artery for the West. I have seen the blood of NCR at Legion hands many times.
From here on out, we can pass a series of Legion checks. Killing the NCR and cutting off their supply line at the Divide serves the Legion, as do we all.
Serves the Legion? I carry no hatred for duty, if that's what this was. The Divide was more than that. Its people more than that.
Seeing this place, it meant more to you than the Legion?
Yes, and it did to you once. I'm sure of it.
So, when you called me a traitor in Hopeville, that title really belongs to you.
No, it is a title you earned. Legion or not, you have betrayed more than you know.
Ulysses has the same response to all three of these choices, so we'll say, if you blame me for what happened here at the Divide, why do you care?
The community that was once here, and the package you brought. Both had markings of the divide, markings of America. You've seen the marks, the symbol, as early as the Hopeville silo, maybe. Carried it etched on your weapons. The divide, its buildings, its people, were built around those same markings, surrounded them here. Markings like the flag on my back when I followed your road to the divide those years ago. I saw the symbol I wore all around me. An old world symbol, strong to survive here. Its people strong. Outlast the bear, outlast the bull. Promise of something better. Kaiser was right to want it dead. NCR was right to want to rake their claws in it. Seeing it changed me. Just as seeing Hoover Dam changed Kaiser and the NCR. Seeing it end changed me too.
Ulysses again has the same response to these choices, so we'll say, so you believed in this place, what it once was.
There was hope here, another chance, a new nation stirring to life, a place I could have set my flag. Not the America of old, but something larger than the tribes of the East, something larger than the houses of the West, something better. The divide could have bridged both, like Hoover Dam. Now, like the dam, it's too covered in blood to see what it could have been. You gave life to this place. I followed your road here, saw the divide. You led me here so that I could see. Then you brought it to an end.
Legion does not kill Legion, but you're not that anymore. I'm going to kill you.
If that's all that drives you, it won't last. The Legion, it won't last either.
He has the same response to these options, so we'll say, so I delivered a package that detonated the nuclear missiles in the divide, and that's why you want me dead.
My history isn't revenge or hate. The road that brought us both here isn't about that. It's about the message you carried, the one in that package, whether you knew it or not. The message that one can kill a nation, can kill a symbol, and all that gather beneath its flag. I don't blame you for the divide. I blame you for what you made me see. Now you will see what you brought to the Mojave, and that will be my message to you.
I don't understand. What message?
The nations of the Mojave, cracked and broken as the divide, its people, the same. I have walked at Kaiser's command across the east into the west, far enough to know Kaiser's word did not drive me, far enough to see the end. You've seen it. No courier, whatever their flag, can ignore it. Why you didn't stay in the west, why you wandered. There's no future in the bear or bull. The bear is diseased, barely clings to life. And the bull, when the Legion reaches the sea, it will turn on itself and die. Killing one will end both, and you made me see how one could do it. Your ignorance, carelessness, can be used with a purpose.
Then you learned the wrong message.
Really? Who's to say the truth of it? You? No. You walked from this, turned your back on it. Now you and others will answer for it. I'll start with the west, let that burn. Then, if the east falters after, I'll bring the divide there as well. Burn away the flags. Begin again.
You wanted me to come to the divide. I'm here. Now what?
Your roads are not done. Haven't walked it full yet. Not nearly enough. The way ahead and below leads to the heart of the divide. And there, you and I, we'll have an ending to things.
I'm not done talking to you yet. There's more I want to know.
Already heard you once, long ago and loud enough for history to hear. Tired of your messages. Still, curiosity drove you this far. Let's see what else it can do.
You said you made a promise not to kill me. Why?
Isar's orders. Sometime before I realized the why of it. Wasn't just you. All couriers. No telling how many were Legion. Maybe all of them. Wasn't sure about you until the divide. All the NCR burning. That much death. It bears the mark of a Legion hand. But you killed like NCR, like Hanlon, with mines, bombs, missiles, killed Legion along with the bear, like a coward, kills from a distance. If you were Legion, then NCR beat you. The West changed you.
If we are Legion, we can pass a Legion check to say, I didn't side with the Legion until the Mojave. Otherwise, we can say, I was never a Legion agent. He responds the same way.
I know that now. Doesn't change what was done. The Legion who died here. Even if you were a Legion, you would answer for those deaths by Caesar's law.
We can pass a Legion check to say, I'll see that you answer for this.
Then Legion kills a Legion. Farther you walk from the flag of the bull, the more west creeps into you.
What's our history? How do you know me?
I knew of you, your name, your road to and from the divide, what that meant for the Legion. We never spoke, knew you through your actions, knew you'd walked the west as I'd walked the east, learned different lessons, and I would never have discovered the divide without you.
And with that, if we've asked him every single question from the beginning until now, we complete the challenge, most likely to. Uncovered all 6 references to the past of Courier 6. Your past. Let's talk about your recordings I found here in the divide.
You scavenge words, things I have no need of, no history there worth recounting. Scour the divide, claw at it for meaning, but my words will give you no answer.
We can pass a 75 speech check to say I've been collecting them. Listen to you talk about history enough, maybe I'll understand.
They won't help you understand what happened here. And they won't help you understand me. Keep them, listen, study them. They won't help you here in the divide.
In the logs, you mentioned a tribe called the Twisted Hares. Is that your tribe?
Twisted Ears are dead, lost at dry wells, died in Wolpus's smile. Won't discuss their fate with you, not now. Their past is mine to keep. Walk farther, see me face to face. You might earn more. Now let the words keep you, without me adding to them.
If we've completed the Old World Blues DLC, we find an option to say that the logs of the Big Empty mentioned that you'd spoken to history.
I did. It was madness. Asked them a question in anger. Got an answer. More than I expected. Answer told me what happened here at the divide, the how of it, and that was enough. The tape has the telling of it. Don't need me adding to the questions already there.
Before I go any farther, I deserve some answers.
You've seen the divide, walked it, farther than I thought you would. Not sure how much farther you have in you. If you need answers, speak. You've earned them, even if only you and I can carry them from here.
I want to know more about this package I delivered.
You know what it was. Had the symbols of America on it, new markings from after the Great War. Thought it might be America come again. Promise of another future, another flag.
But what was it?
It was a piece of machinery, military, holding memories, codes maybe. When it woke, made these sounds, words. When it spoke, the divide became fire. The ground tore apart like the skies. Through it all, kept calling out, maybe calling for home.
What do you mean, when it spoke?
Machine couldn't speak by itself. Needed a terminal to access it. Like the terminals in the silos here. Or the machine with you. When it was connected, it started speaking. And the divide answered.
Where is this package now?
Buried in the divide. Part of it now. Wherever it is, it's been silent. If it spoke again, we'd know.
I've had enough of this. Whatever your game, you're done.
No, you are. Cut off your retreat, your supply line. Ashton missile, turn Hopeville into a furnace. You could walk back, still can, but the divide will mark you. Sickness will set in. Not immediate, maybe, but in time. Slow burn, a little faster than before. The way ahead and below leads to the heart of the divide. And there, you and I, we'll have an ending to things.
This canyon is miles long, maybe longer. Where can I find you?
At the end of the divide, through the trenches and wreckage, that's where you'll find me. My new home, here, amongst dead men. You and that machine. Keep your eyes on the tower that cuts the horizon. You'll find your way. Made it this far. Not much farther to go.
With that, we learned the most horrifying revelation about our own past. Before we came to the Mojave, before we worked with the Mojave Express, before Benny shot us in the head, we were a courier to the west. We supplied a settlement here in the Divide with the food and resources it needed to thrive. Its prosperity attracted the attention of the NCR, which tried to annex it. The arrival of the NCR attracted the attention of the Legion, who tried to conquer it. But the last package we ever delivered to the Divide came from NCR lands. It had old world markings on it. We didn't know what they were. We didn't know what they meant. Presumably the NCR didn't even know what it meant. But it was sent here, and we brought it here because the NCR thought that it belonged here, recognized the symbols from the Divide and the ones on this package, wondered what would have happened. But once the package arrived, it activated the nuclear missiles hidden deep below ground. And as we saw in my very first video, many of these missiles had been leaning to the side, pushed up against the sides of the very silos that were supposed to issue them into the sky. And so they detonated below ground, destroying the Divide, killing every man, woman, and child who lived here, and turning the NCR and Legion troops who were stationed here into the marked men we find today. If Ulysses is right, we did this, and he holds us responsible. He was devastated when we destroyed the Divide. He saw it as the one place where humanity had hope to rebuild. He called it a new nation stirring to life, a new place to set his flag, hope and the promise of something better. This loss hit him hard, and for God knows how long, he's been aching to get us back here, to find out why we delivered the package here. He says we should have known what was in the package, but we don't. If anyone is to blame for this, it's the NCR. They are the ones who asked us to deliver this package. At least, that's what we can assume. It came from NCR lands. In fact, it was likely found in Navarro after the NCR defeated the Enclave there and took possession of it. Ulysses said that the package had old world markings on it, yes, but also markings from after the bombs. Likely Enclave markings. But we didn't send this package, we just carried it. Doesn't Ulysses know the maxim, don't shoot the messenger? We were just the messenger. But his grief, after losing the divide, has altered his way of reasoning. And now we have to deal with him. But we walk away from this conversation with so many questions. It's clear that the package was some sort of detonator, but Ulysses said it spoke with a clear voice. How could it have spoken? And if not to kill us because Courier doesn't kill Courier, what then does he want with us? And why does he keep talking to Eddie that way, referring to him as that machine? To find out, tune into tomorrow's episode, when we will fight our way down from Sunstone Tower and pass through the canyon towards Ulysses. I publish a new Fallout video 6 days a week on a wide range of topics spanning all of the games. This week I'm dedicating to Lonesome Road. I'll publish a new Lonesome Road video every day this week until we complete the entire series. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss an episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop, folks. Who are you that do not know your history? The very mantra that Ulysses chanted to the scientists in the Big Empty and then chanted again to us. On the back, we find Ulysses' symbol, the Old World flag. I also have versions of the shirt with just the quote or just the Old World flag. I have a number of other designs in the shop on a wide array of other products. You can find a link to my shop in the description below or by clicking here. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date with all Oxhorn news. And if you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with episode 5.